Welcome back to another video. My name's Carl Goslin and today we're going to take a look at the GT Omega wheel stand classic. Now they do two wheel stands. They do the classic and they do the Apex. The Apex is the later one and that's more of a standalone wheel stand. And what I mean by that is with the classic you can actually buy the back half of the rig, you might say, and turn it into a full-size cockpit. With the Apex, you can't do that. It is a standalone unit altogether. So in some ways, this has, an advantage over the Apex if you feel you might want to upgrade later on, which is something, of course, we all do as sim racers. The upgrades never seem to stop. But wheel stands, what are they? Why are we looking at them? Wheel stands are a good option if you're upgrading from maybe a desk-mounted setup. Let's say you've got a Logitech G920 or something mounted to your desk. Your shifter's mounted to the side as well, at the same level as the steering wheel. It's not ideal. Really, you want the shifter down, down more where your hips are, a bit like it would be in a real car. So a wheel stand gives you the ability to hard mount your steering wheel base and your shifter and your pedals all to a fixed metal frame, literally just like the front end of a small cockpit, versus having it clamped to a desk. So you gain a lot more rigidity, a lot less flex and potential for movement in the mounting points themselves. You get to adjust your wheel height up and down, in and out. You get to adjust your shifter height up and down, in and out, and even the pedal deck itself you can adjust the angles of. So there's lots of reasons to buy one of these if you've only got a desk mounted setup to begin with, and they're not very much money either. I think this is somewhere between 100 and 120 quid. I'd have to check. There'll be some linked in the description if you do fancy buying one. Clicking the links helps the channel out. I get a small commission. Doesn't cost you any more money, but it does help me out. So if you would, that'd be great. But yeah, there'll be links to eBay there. So you can look for second-hand ones on there. They maybe 50 quid second-hand, give or take. Or I say brand new, 100 to 120 with shipping anyway. But anyway, that's a wheel stand. That's why you might want one, and that's how they work. Let's get the camera around the other way, and I'll take you on a little walk around of this GT Omega wheel stand classic that I've had for 2 years now. So it's well used, and also this is a good time to do a review because we can see whether anything's worn out or what issues I might have come across over the last 2 years. Let's have a little goosey at that. Right, let's have a closer look at this GT Omega wheel stand classic. So as one thing I just wanted to quickly mention, I said a minute ago that the pedal deck is adjustable with its angle. It actually isn't. It's fixed in place. It's welded there and it's bolted in through the side there, so you actually can't adjust the angle of the wheel deck. But adjustments that we do have are the height of the pedal deck, that is. The height of the wheel deck's adjustable, and you do that by undoing these thumb screws here and this thumb screw here, and that lets you slide it in and out. You can adjust the angle of the wheel deck by undoing these two thumb screws here and the same the other side, and that will then twist up and down, allowing you to adjust the angle of that. You have got some adjustment for the overall angle of this with these thumb screws here. You can just make out another hole to the left there. So they're two fixed positions that you can put this in. The other hole here is for when you fold it away for storage, which I'll show you in a little while. You can see it's all box section metal construction, same as the Apex and the same as their Art range of cockpits. What else do we have? This one's actually on casters, which are optional. They're not something that comes with it by default. These holes you see here, there's two types of shifter mount that come with this. There's the one that's mounted currently to it on this side, which bolts on the side here. This is what they call their version 2 mount, and there's a version 1 mount which slots in this hole here and is held in place by two thumb screws again there, and that can slide in and out to make that adjustable. This one doesn't slide. It's just this one position you have available for it here, but to be honest, it's a pretty good position, so it's not really an issue. Ori, say hello to everyone, the people of YouTube. Everyone loves a cat. Where was I? So yeah, we've used the version 2 and left that on there because I actually prefer that. I find the version 1 that screws in the bottom here, I find the upright section gets in the way of my left leg. So we've gone with that. In fact, you can see some marks here from when you undo these thumb screws and raise it up and down and lock it in place again. We've got a Logitech G27 attached to this at the moment, and it's hard mounted from underneath here. There's a couple of screw holes you can use. This deck's pre-drilled for all your usual Logitech Thrustmaster Fanatic, as is the pedal deck as well, also pre-drilled. And again, the shifter mounts are also pre-drilled for your usual array of peripherals. So that's pretty much the little walk around. I'll reposition the camera and I'll show you how it folds away for storage, because it does fold away relatively compact. And it's not something I ever really did, to be honest, because I just put it to one side and left it out of the way. But let me just reposition the camera, put it on a tripod, and I'll show you how it packs away. Okay, let's fold this stand away quickly so you can see how it goes into storage. So the first thing we're going to do is undo these two here and lower the wheel deck down out the way as much as you can. So you do these up fairly tight, but not stupidly tight. It's going to mark the paint, whatever you do. There's no real way around that, to be honest. But there we go, that slides down to there. Just nip them up again so they don't slide back out when we're mucking about. The next thing we're going to undo then is these two here. I'll just undo this one that's out of shot before I come around the other side, but they are both exactly the same. Now you're going to want to support the weight of the wheel deck whilst you do this, or at least when you undo the second one like I'm about to, otherwise it will just flop down. So let's undo that last one. So whilst it is fold away, it's not the quickest of fold away options, really, as you can see. Right, so as that comes out, the weight of this is really on it, and you just gently lower it down. Now at the moment that's resting on the shifter, so it will actually close up some more if I now lift up the bottom half and lay it on its side a little bit like that. And if you then line up the holes for the bolt to go through, which is taking longer than it should, like that. So that is how it, I'll only put one in just for demonstration purposes, but that is how it folds away for storage. I suppose you could put that in a cupboard or tuck it behind a sofa or wherever you fancy. You know, it takes a minute or two to do it. Not the quickest and easiest things, which is why I never really bothered. I just left it set up and pushed it to one side. But yeah, that is how it folds away. So I've took you a little walk around it. I've showed you the features, the construction. As I say, it feels pretty solid, to be honest, and it is pretty solid. So the next thing I'll do is get it set up over there in front of the big screen, and we'll have a quick test drive and see just how much flex we get side to side, backward and forwards, and in the wheel deck itself. And that'll probably be in Dirt Rally 2, so let's get to that. Okay, so we're here in Dirt Rally 2. Gonna have a quick blast on this GT Omega Classic wheel stand, just to see sort of how rigid it is, how much flex there is, and how comfortable it is. Now with a wheel stand, obviously you don't have a proper racing chair. You have to use whatever chair you've got. Now I wouldn't recommend using a chair on wheels, because as soon as you push down hard on the brake pedal, your chair's gonna fly backwards. If you do only have like an office chair with wheels on, then there are little cups you can buy that your wheels sit into, and then there's spikes on the bottom of the cup, and that will grip into your carpet if you happen to be on carpet. If you're not on carpet and you've got a chair with wheels on, get a chair without wheels on, otherwise you're in trouble. So what I've just got is just a random dining room table chair here. It hasn't got any wheels, we're gonna be all right. So you position the chair as far forwards or backwards as you feel is comfortable, and obviously try and centre yourself left to right on the wheel as well, as best as you can. It's one of the things I don't like about a wheel stand. Every time you get in, you have to just feel around finding that perfect sweet spot. It's a bit like getting in your car every day and someone having moved your seat. it's just a pain in the arse. And you've got to find that perfect, comfortable sweet spot again. Or in this case, as best as you can, using a dining room chair, and in my case, a cushion, just to add a little bit of lumbar support. But let's just give it a little whirl and see how we do. Now, I want some screen capture on the go, which is Alt and F9. Yep, that's good. So, first things first, straight away, there's a little bit of side-to-side wobble that I notice with this wheel stand, and that's because there's no support in the middle to stop it from wiggling side to side. Up and down, there's also a little bit of play. But, you know, we do have to bear in mind the price point of this and the fact that it is a wheel stand and not a full cockpit. So we'll see how it actually feels in a race, because that's what's important.
2, 1, go.
Let's go.
Right, very long.
Now, I have just installed the software for this G27 steering wheel because I haven't used it on this computer before. Seems to be all right though.
30.
But yeah, as far as, to be honest actually, as far as the driving experience goes,
Caution, don't cut through left.
I'm not really noticing
50 over crest, 1 right.
noticing that wobble. Yeah, tell a lie. I can feel it. And
Into turn,
you've got to remember, I am used to a full cockpit and a cockpit that I've reinforced as well. So that is particularly rigid.
right.
Yeah, you can. Okay, yeah, there's a fair bit of wobble here. So that's,
Into 3 right.
again, it's kind of the nature of a wheel stand. You have to make compromises for the fact that it is just a stand
Turn 3 right.
and not a full cockpit. So flex and wobble,
Opens long, don't cut.
definitely what you're compromising with. But in my opinion, it's still better than being sat at a desk. My driving position's better. I can put the wheel where I want it to. My shifter's in a better position. I've been able to fit, in this case, a custom handbrake on the left-hand side there. Although I haven't mapped it, so I'm not actually using it.
Into 4 left, very long.
But yeah, no, it works well enough. It's definitely better than a desk. I mean, desks have a fair bit of wobble in them as well, depending on the type of desk it is. If it's just your average cheapo office desk, they wobble like mad anyway. So
Opens very long.
just having that adjustability for height and length and getting everything exactly where you want it is definitely an upgrade. And again, these can be picked up second hand, 40 or 50 quid. And that's really a no-brainer. Before this wheel stand, we actually had, I think they're called wheel stand pros, the one with the rod that comes up in the middle between your legs, and your legs always stay either side of that. Now that really was a wobble fest, and considering you can get these for the same price or less, I definitely recommend one of these over one of those wheel stand pros. They also fold away. They fold away a little quicker and easier than what this does, but they're, like I say, they just wobble far too much with that sort of centre shaft going down the middle. So it's definitely a big improvement over what that was, and that was a big improvement over using a desk. So yeah, but as I say, compared to a full cockpit, oh shit, that'll do. Yeah, compared to a full cockpit, obviously we've got this wobble here and it's quite noticeable. But yeah, that's my experience here today with the GT Omega wheel stand classic. As I say, you can add on the rest of the cockpit, which will give you a proper seat that stays in the same position should you want to. Or you can do what I did, which is sell this on to a friend and then buy a full cockpit. Now, even my full GT Omega Arc cockpit, it still had a fair bit of this side-to-side play in it. Not as much as this, but it did. I made some modifications to get rid of that completely, and I'll do that in another video. But to wrap up today, the wheel stand classic is definitely better than being bolted to your desk. The pedals can't move around. The shifter is at a much more sensible height. You can adjust the steering wheel to have that where you want it exactly as well. There are spaces for modifications like fitting this handbrake here. You could also fit a pair of fans if you wanted wind simulation. There's actually a tactile transducer fitted to the underneath of this pedal deck as well. Obviously you can't see that and you can't feel it, but it's there. So you do have the ability to customize and to turn it into a little bit more than what it is. You could fit a digital dashboard here, which I'm going to show in another video as well, using a tablet or a mobile phone in a holder. So you can do a lot with it, and it all stays as one. When you do either fold it away or just slide it out the way, everything's still exactly where you want it. Whereas if you've got it clamped to a desk, the chances are you can't leave it clamped to your desk and you have to take it all off and move it all away. So thanks very much for watching today, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. As always, take it easy.